The Rangers beat the Buffalo Sabres 2-1 in overtime. Another game in which the Rangers really didn't deserve the win, didn't play all that well. But the really story coming out of this one is Igor Shesterkin, who not only made clutch saves, as I've said, through his struggles, but this was a full on 60 plus minutes since it went to overtime effort from Igor. And that's the most encouraging thing. Didn't think the team played all that well. Line changes were made, changes in which I'm hoping that maybe they stick with those. Not that those changes necessarily sparked a whole lot. There was maybe some mild improvement, but I think ones that I hope that they kind of continue with. We'll talk about those. But Igor makes 32 saves on 33 shots, a desperate Buffalo team that's trying to make the playoffs for the first time in over a decade. And, that's a tough one for Buffalo not to get the 2 points. For the Rangers, they get the 2 points. And it's how I felt kind of after that Montreal game. Didn't really deserve to win. Not a very inspiring effort. In particular, that second period was pretty brutal from the Rangers, but they come out of there with the win. Artemi Panarin gets the game-winning goal in overtime on the power play. Patrick Kane also scores. So it's his second goal as a Ranger, and he grew up a Sabres fan, so I'm sure it meant a lot to him to score in Buffalo. But Tyler Mott returns to the lineup. Johnny Brodzinski out. Still no Ryan Lindgren. I still think there's a chance that he plays tomorrow at Pittsburgh. That game will be interesting. It's the start of 3 games this week versus the Penguins. There's a capital game in the middle there, but 3 games with the Penguins, and the Rangers are 7 points ahead of Pittsburgh currently. So let's jump right into this game. Like I said, Buffalo, they played well, and for them, they were coming off a game in which they gave up 10 goals at home to Dallas. So you knew that Buffalo was going to be engaged, a little bit more well-structured, and they were. Rangers Sabres, you wouldn't have expected it to be a 2-1. I mean, it was 1-1 at the end of regulation. No one would have thought that, but you got some good goaltending, especially from Igor. And, not terrible goaltending from Buffalo's netminder, UPL, Ukko Pekka. And for the Rangers, I thought the first period wasn't bad. There wasn't a whole lot going on, but I didn't really hate the first period. Low event, but weren't really allowing too many chances. And look, that was a period that had no goals or penalties. So really, not a whole lot going on there. But then in the second period, Buffalo really took over. Very much so. And at 2:54, Jacob Trouba hooks Jeff Skinner. But the Ranger penalty kill does a really nice job there, and then we'll talk about another time. It was only 2 times that they were on the kill, but I feel like the PK seems like it's been, I'm not sure if the stats back it up, but it feels like they've been better lately. So they kill off that Trouba penalty, but at 7:52 of the second, Jeff Skinner scores his 29th goal of the season from Lyubushkin and Tage Thompson. So 1-0 Buffalo at that point, and on that one, the fourth line was on. And I thought the fourth line actually in the first period was getting some opportunities, but they didn't play too much. You look at it, and someone like Jimmy Vesey, like his ice time's really been cut down, and that's just the way that it kind of is right now. And I guess also Goodrow, to an extent, too. His ice time has been limited. But Sabres make it 1-0 there. But the Rangers respond fairly quickly, and it's a goal by Patrick Kane. Kind of a lucky goal where it goes off the Sabres' defenseman's skate. Kane tries to throw it towards the net, and it goes in off of Buffalo. So 18th goal of the season for Kane. His second goal as a Ranger from Miller and Trouba. And so it's 1-1 at that point. And then the Rangers get their first power play at 19:03 as the penalty is drawn by Mika Zibanejad, who would go on to draw another penalty later. Gergensen's hooks Zibanejad, and the power play is unsuccessful. It's always tough, though, I will say, when it's a minute left in the period, it gets broken up by the intermission. So it's kind of tough to find a rhythm. They don't score there. And we head to the third, and then line changes happen. And so now, and these line changes, I've been kind of calling for these. Not exactly this, but I kind of even like it more than the ones that I was asking for. So now, and we'll see if it's, tomorrow if they start with this, but now you're looking at Panarin, Zibanejad, Tarasenko, Kreider, Trocheck, Kakko, Lafreniere, Hedl, Kane, and then that fourth line, of course, is the same. So I guess the biggest thing is, to describe it easily, Panarin and Kane broken up, kid line broken up, but still, 2/3 of the kid line still together. And Trocheck's wingers are completely different. Kreider, who he's had success with, and then Kakko on that line. So I want to give that one a look. Again, I think Panarin and Kane away from each other is a good thing. And I actually do think the kid line getting broken up for now is a good thing. Because, look, the fact of the matter is, Hedl has quieted down a lot. He was really, honestly, one of the hottest players in the NHL. And he has fallen off. He really has. And Kakko as well. So let's see what happens with Kane on the line with Lafreniere and Hedl. And then, that Panarin, Zibanejad, Tarasenko line, it's interesting. We'll see what it does. So in the third, Buffalo takes too many men on the ice penalty at 9:50, but the Ranger power play is unsuccessful. And so the power play, they're trying to change up with the units, and that stayed the same. The new unit stayed the same. And what happens is basically Fox starts the power play, and eventually he'll go off for Trouba. And, there might be instances when Fox plays almost 2 minutes. That might happen. I kind of like the process of it, but, the power play doesn't score. And then Chris Kreider takes a really bad penalty at 13:02. He interferes with Owen Power really bad. I just kind of if this was a bigger game, I'd be more upset by it. Whatever, but, you can't be doing that stuff. But the Rangers penalty kill does a good job. And Tyler Mott was in Kreider's spot with Zibanejad, and I thought Tyler Mott did a really nice job there. He's a good PKer. And then at the end, Buffalo was really getting going, and Igor made some great saves. I think one on Dylan. I think there was one save that he made on Dylan Cousins that was really, really good. Shesterkin, not only was he good really from the get-go, but really made key saves just as he did against Montreal late to keep this game going. And so we go to overtime. And puck possession is so important in these 3-on-3s. And it was Zibanejad, Panarin, Fox, and Mika draws another penalty. Good hard work by Zibanejad. Rasmus Dahlin hooks him. Rangers call a timeout, and the 4 players on were those 3, Zibanejad, Panarin, Fox, with Patrick Kane. So the one difference from what we're normally used to is Kane on instead of Kreider, which, look, 4-on-3, it makes sense. You don't really need that net front presence. Maybe more so for cleaning up in front, not so much for screens. And the Rangers do score on that power play. They get the game-winning goal. It's Artemi Panarin. Luukkonen was a little bit out of position, and Panarin buries it, had the open net, and roofs it. And Panarin scores the game-winning goal in overtime, his 20th goal of the season from Fox and Zibanejad. So the Rangers win it 2-1. They did not play well again. Igor Shesterkin, absolutely the story here. And let's see what the Rangers do against Pittsburgh tomorrow. Pittsburgh's coming off of a win today versus the Flyers. The Rangers and Penguins have played once earlier this season, a game that Pittsburgh won. It was a frustrating one. I thought the Rangers played very well in that game, but that was a game where I remember Sammy Blais took a bad penalty, and that kind of changed things, and that was costly, and it's kind of funny. Sammy Blais back on St. Louis, it's like he's like back to what he was. He's really been very solid with the Blues again, but that's here nor there. But the Rangers lost the game to Pittsburgh at a time when the Rangers had a long winning streak, and that ended that winning streak. And so now Rangers at Pittsburgh. Tristan Jarry likely in net for Pittsburgh because Casey DeSmith was in goal for Pittsburgh today. And then for the Rangers, probably Jarl Halak. I would assume it's Halak, just because, look, Igor's workload was a lot. It's all right. It's an interesting decision, right? I kind of thought they'd go Halak versus Buffalo, Shesterkin versus Pittsburgh. They didn't, but clearly that worked today. And like I said, the Rangers are 7 points ahead of Pittsburgh with 2 more games against the Penguins at MSG later this week. It's not that consequential. Only if you lose all 3 to Pittsburgh, which I really don't see happening at all. I just don't. And even if somehow you did have that happen, as long as you stay within the wild card 1, I keep on saying, Carolina and the Devils are kind of jockeying for position right now. Carolina's got a little bit of an edge, but it doesn't change that much. The biggest thing for me is how the Rangers look. And not so great right now, but there's still a lot of time. for them to improve. And the biggest thing, because he's been struggling for a while, is that Igor Shesterkin was the major reason why the Rangers were victorious today in their 2-1 win in overtime at Buffalo.